Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Thanks for jumping into my live here on Facebook. And I'm also here on TikTok. And I go live every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Tuesdays it's 4:30 Eastern. And Thursdays it's 1 p.m. Eastern. And I do that, sort of on the Tuesdays. It's so that, you're kind of coming home from work. Maybe you can still catch me while you're at work and just sort of listen in. And then definitely Thursdays is to catch you kind of on your lunch break at about 1 p.m. So give or take what the hours are. And today is a really special day for me because I'm just really sharing this new sort of path I'm taking in sharing with you in my message. And I always start my lives off with sort of who I am, but I'm going to go into the other, aspects of this presentation today. So let me start on Facebook. Let me start by sharing in the comments the you'll see the Google Docs link in there that you can use to sort of follow along about what I'm talking about. And there's links in there as well to the things that I'm wanting to share. And basically, it's my story, right? And I'm hoping that it resonates with you. I mean, if you're at this point, even if you're not, even if you're younger than I am, I'm 52. But if you're younger than I am and you're in your jobs and you're starting your families and sort of on the path that I was, why not get some tips about things that I made mistakes over the years and what I learned from it so that you can hack that and get yourself on the right path sooner than I did. And I always start by saying, regardless of when this message finds you, I'm a big believer in serendipity and the energy matter that brings all of us together, right? At the right place in the right time. And we are here together for that. And it's serendipitous because you're scrolling, you might be on a break, or you might be just able to sort of scroll through social media and you can come across this. Or if you had already planned it because you saw my post that I was preparing to be here today, then you're here. And, let's just get to know each other. Go ahead and put in the comment, number one, if you are here because you're just scrolling. And that's fun to know because that's just how magical this whole algorithm of social media is, don't you think? So I mentioned I'm Ilima, and I talk about passive income and positive mindset. I'm 52 years old. I have a wonderful husband. We've been married for 23 years, and I have two young adult children. They're in college at the moment. I've had 25 to 30 plus years of experience in business and more recently in education administration. So that's my path, right? And I talk about how each of you might be, in your way, on your career way, figuring yourself out and figuring out the path that you want to take. You've taken certifications, if you're a little older like me, you've sort of worked your way through your career and made some really intentional decisions. Okay, I'm going to get certified. I'm going to take more classes. I'm going to invest in my skills and better prepare myself to be more employable, right? And more of a contributor to my company or my career. So I did that. I climbed the ladder, right? I made sacrifices. One in particular for administration was a whole year of training every single month. And that training went on for like 4 to 5 hours, guys. And I thought, hey, that was what I needed to do. And I succeeded, right? I struggled through it. I had some failures. I didn't produce the kind of essays or paperwork that they needed me to do, and I had to redo it. And that was a real lesson in itself. I think you've probably been through that yourself, right? Like you've went on a way and chose to do something and you didn't do it perfectly. But so what do you have to do when that happens? You have to redo it, right? You have to resubmit that paper. You have to resubmit that project. You have to make the corrections and take the feedback. That's often difficult to take, especially at my age where I'm a little older and I'm feeling like I have all these years of experience. What can you really correct me on? Well, you can, because I'm learning. Because I chose to be in a field where I had to learn how to do, how to write up things, how to do things the way, I had to write up things and do things the way they wanted me to do it on in the training. So along that comes the, belief and the reminder that if you're working for someone, you can do all of that training and you can have this phenomenal dream and this path that you're going to take in your employment. And you can have somebody come along who has a different plan and agenda for you or for the company, and they can change it. They can change your path, right? Whether you like it or not. And honestly, I'll share, be real candid here, okay? That happened to me. And I had to come out of that meeting learning that, wow, someone really can change things for me, change my position, my setting, my purpose. And, instead of, well, certainly you can be upset when that happens, especially if you're not included or allowed any input into a decision like that. But you can be upset. Now, and you can cry and you can be emotional, in the privacy of your home. And that's what I did. I made it my way back to my home and my family. And I had to explain this, and it hurt a lot to explain that things were going to change for me. And I had to quickly, guys, you have to pivot so quick when people are counting on you. So in my case, my family, they're looking to me like, Mom, are you okay? Right? Mom, are you hurt? Did someone hurt you, Mom? Right? And that's a common response. And I had to be honest with them and say, yeah, I'm hurt by this decision. But I'm not blaming another person, right? I'm going to rise above it, guys, and so are you, right? As my family, I'm going to take the lead and show you the kind of grace that we have, and we're going to get through this, okay? I made sure I grounded myself in 3 questions to myself to overcome this stressful situation. And the first question was, right, what's important to me? What is really still mine? And I came up with those answers pretty quickly. And that was my health, right? My relationships. My family was still strong together, caring for one another. My health, I'm okay. And the third most important thing is my capacity to continue to learn, and my capacity to continue to contribute, to continue to grow, to learn new things, and become, a person on maybe a different path. Thanks for joining, everyone. Calm Breeze Mega joined. Thanks so much. Go ahead and see my account for the 2 areas that you can look further into if you like what I'm talking about. One is, sorry if I'm going to keep talking about this. One is my challenge, my 3-day challenge starting tomorrow. It's in my account there, and you can sign up. And the other is my private Facebook group where I do talk about passive income and positive mindset. Okay, so I had to regroup and talk to my family and say, hey guys, I'm good, right? My health is good, my relationships are good, and no one's taken away my ability to learn, right? My ability to regroup and move on, continue in this line of work. But that took me to social media, like all of us do. Took me to social media, and you're realizing that there is a world out there. When you're working your 9 to 5 and you're busy working and you're committed to that, all the while this is going on social media. People are promoting, ways to make extra money. People are promoting ways to improve your health and your wellness. and it's just a whole bunch of things. So I had taken a moment and looked that up, and one thing led to another, and I made the decision to look into making extra income for myself to reclaim my control. No longer, or acknowledging that maybe I work for a 9 to 5, but reclaiming the fact that I can learn these online skills and I can have a side hustle or I can have a side business. Um, and then I can help others to learn how to do the same. And that just blew up, blew up everywhere. Just like, this is possible, this is possible. And I learned affiliate marketing, which I talk about in my Facebook group. And I learned more about positive mindset to include real exercises, real practices that put my wellness and my mindset and my health as a priority. And I really don't believe one bit that you can have true happiness until you prioritize both. Okay? You need to prioritize your wealth building and your practicing positive mindset or your wellness. You have those both parallel and prioritized as very important to you, and you're touching each of them every day and building it and securing it and nurturing it. Happiness is right there while you're on the journey of doing that, as well as the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And so we're talking about also, I'm bringing forward this challenge of mine, but I talk about in the challenge the real stress that we all may feel throughout the year. However, right about this time, there's no doubt, right about this time, we are feeling it, right? Would you agree that definitely putting coming to the realization that the holidays are right around the corner brings a little bit of discomfort to many of us. If you agree with that, just go ahead and put a number 2 in the comments, because that gives me an idea that this is resonating with you. I know it resonates with most people because that's a common concern among my smaller circle of friends, but then you hear about it in the news, and there's a number of resources online for you to learn from. So I've gathered those resources that I find that are pertinent to talking about this stress that we feel, and I honed it down a little more to acknowledge the stress we feel really within our families around the holidays. And they are real feelings. They are, I don't want to say healthy, but it's healthy to be aware of them, and that helps your wellness. Okay? And in that challenge that I provide, we talk about that. And I have a worksheet, and we work through, we can't do a whole bunch in one day or 3 days for that matter, but we cover the real top 3 components of that and how you work through it. And you can identify maybe what those stressors are in your family. Hi, OBI, who joined. Thanks so much for being here. And again, I'm just talking about how you feel, around the holidays. And we talk about the stress in the family systems. So I have an article that I put in the Google Doc for Facebook to see. And it's from Psychology Today, and it's stress in the family. And it really talks about, so it's so annoying, for example. It's so annoying that your aunt asks you why you aren't married yet. Or that your parents have sarcasm or scream at you to help them with something before you've even had a chance to close the door as soon as you get in, right? There's just this, you're bombarded almost with these expectations. And it happens. And when you're going in with a clear head, and you can learn these through the practices that I share in the challenge, you can make a deal with yourself to take on this holiday dinner, holiday get together with family, and in a rational way. And you can actually put a good foot forward and start, no matter how people are reacting to you and interacting with you in the family. Okay? And definitely by developing this sense of self through these exercises that I give you in the challenge, you build the ability to really self regulate. Okay, and that's what positive mindset is about. You better manage these concerns and anxieties, um, and helps you to be less reactive to your family, because I know you're almost like in a time capsule, would you say? That when you go back to your family's home, you have your own little circle, maybe you're older, so you have your own little family, but you have your outer family, right? The one you grew up with. And how many of us feel like we just step back in time, the moment we're getting together again? And for some of you, it could be very comforting, and that's awesome, right? And it could just prompt like some lovely memories and some comfort and some warmness and love, and those are all wonderful. And if you experience that, I'm happy for you. And you can have those experiences, and you can have some maybe not so good memories, right? And that could be around maybe interactions you have with siblings, right? Were you the firstborn? Are you the middle child? Are you the baby? And that all that comes with this long list of a job description, if you could say. It's a long job description list because you have a role in the household, right? In depending on what number you were born as, that's common. But in the end, again, I want to equip you with just that knowledge about how to interact with the family. Okay? Because there's still maybe a part of you, I'm sure you're not writing everything off. And if Aunt May is calling you to have a dinner and it creates any sort of discomfort, there's an obligation you have within you, and you might be feeling like you're fighting within yourself, but you still might want to go. Okay? So going is perfectly fine. Well, why don't you have a couple of strategies under your belt, right? In your back pocket to certainly help you start off the time together with family in a very rational, non reactive way, so that you can kind of put aside those fears and you can just enjoy Aunt May's ham, and enjoy cooking together, and enjoy some of those kind of family rituals we do, right? Like if you're the one who always setting the table, then go ahead and set the table. If you're the one who's like, sort of has to do the recycles or the trash, then do it, because in the end, right, we're not all promised to be together forever here. Maybe we move on to another realm and we enjoy one another later. But while we're here, I'm really just hoping that this challenge or this information today helps you sort of put things in perspective about what you're up against, maybe. And if you are feeling any reservations or hesitation to spend time with family because of the stress that it might cause, well, maybe this information that I provide in my group in the 3-day challenge could just kind of give you some leg up, on your own struggles. And so the most stressful things around the holidays are finances, the option to, the gift giving. I mean, you have gift giving within the family, and then you have it at work, and then you have it in your social circles. And really, there's pressure around that exchange. And, how do you deal with it, right? Put a number 4 in the comments if you have gift exchanges at, like non-family gift exchanges. And what does that, do for you? Does it bring you joy? And if it does, that's terrific. Don't stop it. But if it's not necessarily bringing you joy, why? Why doesn't it? And what would bring you joy, right? What would give you maybe a sense of giving, but it's not gift giving? Yeah, it could be something else. The other stressors are traveling, right? How many of you are traveling, this time of year? Oh my gosh, you're putting yourself through that. And your family, right? Lugging the heavy luggage, dealing with layovers and cancellations, and just, having to fly. And, it's probably a great idea when you're planning it, because sure, the opportunity to get away from where you're living, oh, that's fun, right? And I just want to say hi here. Hi, Lily Paddle. That's such a cool name. And Teddy Forgera. That's awesome too. Thanks for joining, everyone. And I put, some real interaction in my live here, with you indicating to the number 4 in the comments if you're traveling this year, because that's a big deal. So another stressor is seeing and interacting with family, which I was talking about. And the other stressor, of course, is returning to the roles of your childhood, right? And that could be a favorable experience for many, and a not so favorable experience. Um, so when you add in the financial burden, traveling, visiting family members, this is just a really can be a really difficult time for many. Um, and this is also a time where we recall the loss of someone anyone very special to you in the year, because this is a time you might have been spending with them, and I understand. I also lost my brother, my older brother, unexpectedly. Just today is just about 3 weeks ago. It was awful. It was awful, unexpectedly, and in peacefully in his sleep. So, what kind of that's such a conflicting image, right? To be of such sorrow, and it was traumatic for me and his wife, of course, and my whole family. But to be in that trauma, but to also have these other feelings rush forward, that he's in a, because you believe that, now I believe my brother's in a peaceful place now. He just has no pain and nothing. I mean, he was completely healthy. So I still struggle. I mean, it's still new, and around this time, I never missed a holiday where he didn't text me. You know, Happy Easter, sis. Happy Mother's Day. I would definitely get a Happy Thanksgiving, and I don't. But and so I feel like sharing these things, with all of you in the challenge is going to be even helpful to me. And if I can offer any comfort and support to any of you who jump in to the challenge, I'd be happy to, because it is what we are, right? We are a social group of humans. We're social. That's why we're on social media here. So I have, in my Facebook group, I'm going to put the link in here that you can get your free infographic. It's a confidence, how to build confidence, what confidence is to people. You can pull that up there. And then I definitely have the challenge that I want you all to consider jumping into, because it would be phenomenal to hear, how you interpret the information that I provide. But definitely, all you need to do is click on my link in my account, and you can find this information, easy to sign up. And the reason, that I believe groups and community is so effective, right, in exchange, in connection, and in collaboration of these subjects. So talking about the stress and the holidays around your family, not only I can impart some of the training that I've had, some of the information and resources that I have, but I am looking forward to getting some training really by my interaction with you in the group. And these communities that we have, whether it be Facebook, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Instagram, these communities are meaningful, with everybody having the best intentions of connecting and learning from one another. And you can certainly have an offer, you can have things that you have a business in your social media, but but in the end, you're really connecting, right? And having a really genuine feeling about helping one another. So that's my presentation today on Facebook. I hope you enjoyed it. Please go to the comments and look for the free confidence infographic that you can get. I also have the Google Doc in there. And for the whole part there, it's really, really meant to just enjoy my time with you. I'll see you all again Thursday, and that's at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see you right here. Take care.